another video based on Craig of the Creek, and it's going to be a character analysis video. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It will be greatly appreciated. So let's get into the video. In Craig of the Creek, we are introduced to a plethora of different characters with different colors and personalities. And one of those characters is Jason, and he is a junior scout who goes around the creek asserting his dominance as a junior scout. And he believes that he is the symbol of the law and truth, always imposing his idea of justice onto others. It is in his frequent interactions with Craig and his friends that we are introduced to Jason's true self, where he is vulnerable and broken. When we see Jason and Craig's relationship, we see that Jason continues to be that antagonistic figure in Craig's life in the creek, where he tries to disrupt and mess up Craig's fun by citing rules that go against what Craig and his friends are doing. This is obviously due to jealousy and envy that he has for Craig, being that he sees Craig always in a happy and joyful mood where he isn't alone but surrounded by people that make him happy. And knowing this, Jason almost tries to imitate what Craig has by surrounding himself with people who respect and follow him. This includes Tony, who is basically like the book holder for Jason, where he uses him to recite the rules and regulations that the Forest Scouts have created and that have basically assigned in the forest, basically acting as his bookshelf in order for him to like pull out the information needed to prove his point. And we have Boris, who is basically like his like bodyguard or some sort of security that he uses in order to like kind of use force if he can't get what he wants. And so these two guys aren't really his friends, but are people that he uses for his own advantage and for his own like pleasure in order to basically kind of stroke his ego that he's actually like, you know, strong and that he's actually the leader of something, because he wants to become Craig. He wants to mimic what Craig has, because Craig has, he basically has he has like a foundation. He has a company of people around him that respect him, but not in the same way that Jason does, because his is actually authentic and natural and healthy, because he has people that actually love him and like him for who he is and not what he forces them to do, you know. Because Jason, on the other hand, he forces people to like him. He forces people, he's kind of like Xavier in the fact that he basically tries to get people around him that actually, he tries to force people around him to kind of see him as the leader instead of naturally just liking the person, or instead of just naturally respecting, you know, the leader. So it's like a cool parallel between the two, both Jason and Craig, and how they're both similar but very, very different. And he knows this but isn't willing to admit it because he wouldn't want people to see him as someone who has nobody. It is in the episode titled Scout Guest, where Jason asks Craig if he could sleep over at his place because he forgot his keys inside. And Craig is a little reluctant, saying that it is a school night. But then Jason pushes no further, saying that he'll handle it himself, using it as a sort of defense mechanism to ignore the almost prior rejection, showcasing Jason's nature of always wanting to appear strong and putting on that tough facade of not needing anyone, even though he knows in his heart that it isn't true.
I'll be fine. I'll just spend the night in the creek. This is the perfect chance to earn my survival shelter badge.
Actually sleep over. And then we cut to both Craig and Jason at Craig's house, where we see Jason behave in a way that is very interesting, where while Bernard and Craig are fighting over who will be doing the dishes, Jason immediately completes the chores and is asked why he did that, but responds by saying that he wanted to prevent both Craig and Bernard from arguing any further. And this moment right here gives us an insight into Jason's family life, where he hates drama and fighting, probably because all he's ever seen or been exposed to is of his parents bickering and fighting with one another. So in order to prevent it, he's always tried to do anything that could keep his family together. As Craig's mom enters the house, she sees him, Jason, doing the chores, and she questions Craig on why there's a kid doing Craig's and the others' chores. And then she proceeds to give Jason a pen and paper to write down the contact information of his parents, and it's in his response that shows, or at least hints at, what his family's life is like, because he shows a disappointed expression when collecting the paper.
Sure.
To Craig and Jason sharing their personal stories, where Jason shares that his father works a lot, but only has time for Jason when he is bragging about his accomplishments to his co-workers, or his stepmom wishing that Jason himself was one of her dogs, showcasing the neglect that Jason has been accustomed to, while even being subjected to eating dinner in his room because of the renunciation. This explains so much of Jason's behavior towards Craig and the others, and why he is aggressive and conceited, because the creek is the only place where he can really be paid attention to. And so through him sharing his story with Craig, it is clear that Craig develops a newfound respect for Jason, and the two gradually become friends. Even though Jason will still be who he is now more understanding of others, and that the acceptance and friendship he's been longing for has finally been found. So overall, Jason is a very interesting character that has so many layers and aspects of him that makes him a character worth talking about. And this is coming from someone who wasn't a fan of him in the earlier parts of the series, but he was able to change my perspective through his growth and family life story, because it's very relatable. It's really relatable to hear a kid who lives in a dysfunctional family where like his parents are going through a divorce and he's basically left alone. And through that, his parents don't really pay that much attention to him anymore. And his case is even worse because he lives with his stepmom. He doesn't even live with his mom, or it don't even look like his mom is really in the picture. He just lives with his dad and his stepmom, and they don't even see it. And his stepmom doesn't really value him as a son, wishing that he was one of her dogs, which is just absolutely insane. It's wild, bruh. It reminds me of like the Cinderella story, and how like Cinderella, she lived with like the evil, wicked stepmother and like her two sisters and stuff like that. Probably the dogs being like the stepsisters to Jason's story, which is just insane. But yeah, Jason's like family life story really makes me wonder, and really makes me understand why he was the way he was against Craig, being so standoffish and being so like, just being very like, I don't know, just being very envious of Craig, because he wanted to have what Craig had, knowing that Craig was so happy all the time coming to the creek. He wanted to have Craig's family lifestyle, and he wanted to have what Craig had, which was a healthy friendship with others, because as we know, Jason didn't really have too many friends aside from Boris and Tony, because his personality wasn't really the best, and he just wasn't really somebody who could socially express himself to others. But it seems like he's found a new friend that he could actually call his friend, who isn't just somebody who wants to follow his rule, who isn't just somebody who's intimidated by him, but is somebody who actually respects him for who he is, you know? Because I don't even think Jason has shared his story with like Boris and Tony. That just goes to show you the amount of respect Jason has for Craig at the end of the day. And it's so cool to see that like friendship grow to something so much more than just them being rivals before, you know? It's like Jason kind of reminds me of Xavier, but he's more bearable, you know? He's more bearable, he's more understandable, because, you know, with the whole Xavier thing, that's a whole nother video in another day. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Please guys, comment down below what you guys thought of the video. Once again, did you guys watch Craig of the Creek growing up? Who are your favorite characters? Please, you guys can comment that down in the description, in the comment section below. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will continue to make more Cartoon Network shows and analysis, because I'm really enjoying it for the most part. It's been really fun. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.